Welcome to Judith and welcome to the Freak Show. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, we're going to keep on this one. I love it. We've got Arid Mesa, we've got Badlands, Demonic Tutor, Terminate, and Battlement. So hopefully, I think, I'll double check that here in a second. Let's go Arid Mesa. Let's crack Arid Mesa, grab ourselves a Blood Crypt. We'll have that come into play tap. That way we don't forget about it. And it should be a fun matchup. Or actually, we'll grab Smoldering Marsh. That way it's going to come into play tapped. And then anything else, we'll want to pass it over to our opponent. So we're playing Judith, the Scourge Diva. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Then whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Judith deals 1 damage to any target. Playing against Teysa Karlov. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Then creature tokens you control have Vigilance and Lifelink. So, and then we run into Bloodghast. I think at this point, if we've got Bloodghast, I kind of like, yeah, this is definitely a Skull Clamp style deck. Yeah, I think let's just go Skull Clamp. This will be a good way for us to get some really nice value. We've got high market battlements. We can get that down and just really start to cash in some card draw. So let's find ourselves Skull Clamp. There we go. That's going to go into our hand. Then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponents. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. If you want to get into Commander Online or Modern or Legacy or Penny Dreadful, anything like that, be sure to check out MTGOTraders. They got you covered for any sort of card needs that you may have. And also, shout out to inkgaming.com. You can use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help the channel at the same time. So let's say that you're in the market for a custom playmat, or you're going to grab yourself a Church of Athreos playmat that is available over there too, if you want to check that out. So got some pretty cool things. And then we run into Stormbreath Dragon. Okay, so I think, yeah, I like just going Bloodghast and then going Skull Clamp, so that'll be pretty good. So let's just go straight up Bloodghast. We could go Judith if we want to, but I just want to get that card draw flowing. That's kind of what makes this deck really kind of get off to a nice start. So let's go high market. Let's go for Skull Clamp. There we go. Get that down. Then we're going to pass the turn over to opponent. But yeah, I've got the Church of Athreos playmat. Got a Ravnica Zombie playmat that's out pretty cool. And Scry the Scurry playmat. But anyway, if you want to check them out, be sure to check the link down in the description below. Or search Inked Gaming for Jolt 539. You should be able to get over to my vendor page. And also, last but not least, I started a Patreon. Have a couple different tiers set up. So if you want to get your name at the beginning or the ending of the video, you can certainly join the Patreon. If you do, much obliged. And if you don't, hey, no problem at all. Just tell somebody about the channel, and I would certainly appreciate it. Now, it is officially free time. We can have some fun. But yeah, so early in the week, I did the War of the Spark pre-release streamer event, or whatever. Technically, it's kind of like a, yeah, basically just what I said, just kind of a streamer event pre-release, and it was a lot of fun. So, if you weren't able to catch it, and you want to check the stream of it, or the whatever it's called. Yeah, but if you want to check the video of the stream, it's certainly up there. I put it on my community page because I couldn't find it the other day going through my video somehow. But it's on my community section if you want to check that out. Now, we can go Judith this turn, but I think we just want to go Skull Clamp. Yeah, actually, let's go and push in with Bloodghast, because either way, we're going to have the land drop to go for. And if our opponent wants to trade with Afterlife too, I would imagine that they'd rather get Teysa down before they cash in that obligation over there for a couple extra tokens. So if they want to make the trade, they certainly can, but at least we'll try to get him for 2, knock him down to 28, and then there we go. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So now we will end up getting the land down to bring Bloodghast back, but at least we're going to dodge a couple of these extra tokens. Now, if they do end up getting a lot of tokens on the battlefield, we do have Rakdos Charm, and I'll kind of explain what we can do with that here in a second, but let's go Battlements. It's going to bring Bloodghast back to the battlefield. And then, yes, definitely want to use that ability. Let's go for Judith, and that way we can equip that that Skull Clamp onto Bloodghast and bring it back. Then hopefully that'll allow us to kind of keep those land drops going and kind of keep up with this, keep up with the Skull Clamp activation. So let's go Skull Clamp on Bloodghast, and yeah, let's go and pop one of these. We'll pop one of the spirit tokens, because we're not going to be able to stop these spirits, and this way we can at least kind of try to keep some of these spirits in check. So there we go, hit a couple more lands, and we'll go and pass the turn. But yeah, what I was talking about was Rakdos Charm. Each creature deals 1 damage to its controller, so if our opponent ends up getting a ton of tokens on the battlefield, and then we can kind of use Rakdos Charm as a little bit of a burn charm. But yeah, as far as that pre-release stream, it was a lot of fun. I ended up playing about 10 different decks, I think. And let me see if I can't get those pulled up real quick. The deck that I had the most fun was definitely a Mardu Aristocrats deck. That having that 2-mana Aristocrat was such a good thing that they released recently. And because I tried to make Aristocrats work with a kind of like a black-white build or even Mardu Aristocrats, but it was just so clunky trying to do Vindictive Vampire and like 4 mana, which, I mean, you can make it work, but it was just, you're not getting any free wins anytime soon with that. And opponent's going to go Utter End on Skullclamp. Yeah, that's completely understandable. You definitely want to stop that if you can. We've got Martyr swinging in for 2-1. Yeah, we'll go and let that damage go on through. But having that 2-mana Aristocrat's definitely going to make that deck a lot better, and I can't wait to start recording with it. And this time around, with this set releasing, I'm going to try to get better about, once I do a deck tech on an arena deck, kind of keep that going into rotation like I do with my commander decks. So, should be good. Now, we do have Stormbreath Dragon if we want to go for that. That's going to be, we can go Blood Crypt or even something like Volrath Stronghold, and that'll stop the Spirit Token from swinging in. I think at this point, we definitely want to hold on to Terminate for Teysa, so let's just get down some sort of threat in the air, just to kind of stop that damage, and then, yeah, we'll bring back Bloodghast. And simply just having a 4-4, yes, definitely use that ability. That 4-4 will kind of stop those spirit tokens from coming across and give us just a little bit more time to do some setting up. So we're going to go Stormbreath Dragon. Now, it does have flying and haste, so we could leave it back to stop the spirit. But now I think about it, I think it'd be better if we just go and push in. Yeah, let's just go and push in, because that's going to be 7, and we can outrace our opponent a lot quicker. Yeah, I like that a lot better. So we're going to push in for 7, and then knock them down to 23 and pass the turn back over to them. But yeah, as far as that Aristocrats deck, we have Tajik in there. Hero of Precinct 1 is an absolute all-star in that deck. There's a lot of multicolored cards in there. Even just stuff like casting Mortify, casting Final Payment, just being able to tag along an extra token is just such a good way. And the granddaddy of Aristocrats that's coming out in this set, Bontu, is a wonderful sack ally. So the only downside is if you want to play Aristocrats in Arena, there's no free sack ally. We don't have Viscera Seer, there's no Bloodthorn Vampire. So being able to just cast Bontu just to sack your entire board and bring everything back, it's a very good feeling. So that if you're kind of Aristocrats on the brain, I'll be posting that very soon. The other deck that we did play that was really cool, we played a Bant Proliferate deck, and we have the Wanderer in there, which is that Planeswalker, and we also have Teo in there, and I ended up getting a lot of kind of like the 0-3 wall tokens with Teo, and so I ended up after the stream adding just kind of a fun of 1 copy of Arcades to the deck. That way, if we end up getting down a ton of those little defender tokens, we can at least do something with them besides swinging in. But the core concept of the deck was basically just get down some sort of Planeswalker. We have the Evolution Sage, which is that elf from the new set that whenever a land enters the battlefield, you can proliferate, which is just pretty busted. I mean, it's not crazy busted, but it's a very strong effect just having landfall on proliferate. Even running stuff like Evolving Wilds in a deck like that can give you that extra proliferate, and just being able to just kind of play these colors to where we are playing Teo and the Wanderer, which is they're fun Planeswalkers to play around with, but we do have a Johnny, Johnny is in there, but Teferi, being able to get those extra proliferate triggers with Teferi and work towards that ultimate is a pretty good thing. Now we do have Rakdos Charm. And we also have Terminate. At this point, I think Terminate on Scourge Stack High Priest is going to be something that we really want to do. So let's go for that. Let's go Terminate on Scourge Stack High Priest. That is one of those cards that if you let them untap with an open Scourge Stack High Priest, it is hard to do anything about that. Let's go and push in with, and I think on this point, we'll just go and push in with Bloodghast, Judith, and Stormbreath Dragon. Now, if you haven't seen this Judith deck before, this is pretty much what this deck wants to do. It's not like a traditional Aristocrats deck like Teysa. It's just kind of like a hodgepodge of different creatures, and then, we go for Bloodghast, get some extra card draw, and then at the 5 slot, we're running a lot of dragons because they tend to have haste, and usually that's enough for you to kind of push past your opponent and get in that little bit of extra damage. Once we get in for this, probably going to be looking for Siege and Commander next turn, and that'll allow us to deal a little bit of extra damage up top, and then we'll simply just go ahead and hold on to Rakdos Charm, and then make the lane drop. I think we made I might have missed that last lane drop swinging through that turn. If I did, I do apologize. But either way, even then, we still have the Flavor Win with Rakdos Charm and then CJ and Commander, so that might have been a little bit of hit that auto yield button pretty quick. But yeah, that Bant deck was really fun to play. I did play Ralzeric Storm, which is just a wonderful Wonderfully fun deck to play. Yes, definitely use that ability. That'll make up for that last lane drop that we missed. Get that mountain down. But yeah, I played Rouseric Storm. Not the old school Rouseric, but the new Rao, whatever his name is. Trying to find it. Rouse Storm Conduit, and you just end up with some really explosive turns, and especially getting down something like Goblin Electromancer, you can really put in some really nice damage with that deck, and so you're definitely seeing a deck tech on that. I did end up playing a mono green deck called Plain White Awakening. We had the new spell, it's Plain White Celebration, and when you use the new Nissa, the 5-mana Planeswalker, that basically amplifies your force into 2 force. I mean, it is a really, really good spell. You end up with a ton of mana, and using that plain wide, you can dump a ton of tokens on the battlefield too, or just gain a bunch of life. Either way. Okay, so we are looking at the Stormbreath Dragon and Judith swinging in. So that's going to be 5. That's going to be 7. That's going to put them down to 7. Yeah, I think I do like going Siege Gang on the back end. So let's go and push in for 7 in the air. And I'd like going Siege Gang Commander, because that's going to give us a lot of bodies on the battlefield. Let's say our opponent is digging for some sort of board wipe. We can at least get down Siege Gang Commander and have some sort of, kind of insurance against a board wipe. I think, do we want to shock in Blood Crypt? Just that, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's go and shock in Blood Crypt. That way we can at least have an extra activation to go forward with the Siege Gang Commander. All right, so we're going to go for Siege Gang, and then, like I mentioned, if they go for a board wipe, there's going to be a lot of Judith triggers up top. That might be enough to close it out, and if not, we can just kind of rebound with whatever sort of creature we want to go for. So let's go Siege Gang Commander, and at the very least, that's at least going to be 2 damage to our opponent, knocking them down to 5. So in response to that, and then that'll be a Judith trigger and then a Siege Gang Commander trigger. Now, the fun thing about the Plain White Awakening deck, as I was playing against an opponent during that stream, this is kind of like a pre-release event, and I had a pretty good board state developed. We're using Nissa to kind of turn our forest into those 3/3 creatures, and we're getting some, just ending up with a lot of, we're going for Biogenic Ooze, we're just getting a lot of good stuff on the battlefield, and then it's going to look like we're going to be able to get a nice swing and close the game out, and our opponent goes, "Good game," like the little emote on Arena, and I was like, all right, cool. We're just have a little friendly game, just trying to get it go through there, and then they toss the good game up, and so then I right-click attack all, and then next thing you know, they just cast to Settle the Wreckage into like my open board. I was like, oh. It was one of those moments where I was like, okay, and at that point we'd also gotten to a Nissa Ultimate, so it's not like I could even use the Settle the Wreckage to get rid of to grab some basics out of our library, because we'd use Nissa's Ultimate to get all the force onto the battlefield, and so it just really it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, all right, let's see how it is. But anyway, it was a long game. I don't want to ruin anything, but it was a pretty fun match. So if you're going to go back and watch that part of the stream, you certainly can. But it was it was kind of funny how that played out. So I'm going to plan on kind of cutting that stream up. If you did end up missing it, I'm going to be cutting it up into little bite-sized chunks. That way you can kind of see what's going on. Now, at this point, since our opponent does have Fiend Hunter on the battlefield sitting at a 1/3, I think we just crack a Goblin. It's going to be 2 up top. It's going to put them down to 5. And then we can go for a few more, and then just go over the top with Stormbreath Dragon. So, yeah, let's go for that. So they're going to swing in for 1. And is this a lifelink? Yeah, it is a lifelink vampire. So that's going to put them back up to 8. But I think with Stormbreath in the air, now unless they have some spot removal, they're not really going to be able to stop that threat in the air. But let's see what they end up having for the turn. So it's going to put us down to 19, and that puts them back up to 8. All right, so let's go for a Siege Gang Commander activation. There we go. Target our opponent. And then next turn we'll sacrifice a Goblin, put them down to 6, and that should be enough. We can even go for Monstrosity if we wanted to. So we go for double activations off Siege Gangs, put them down to 2. If we go for double activations, and we do have Wheel of Fortune to go for also if we wanted to. Let's just go and push in with Stormbreath Dragon and just kind of see where this gets us, because if they've got spot removal, that'll kind of force them to go for that. If not, that'll at least allow us to close the game out with Siege Gang. And if something funny does happen, we can at least go for Wheel of Fortune to maybe find ourselves, or like I mentioned earlier, going for that Rakdos Charm. Okay, so it's going to put them down to 2. Let's go for the Siege Gang Commander activation, and that'll close them out. I guess if we wanted to go for a flavor win, we could go for Rakdos Charm, but, it's always fun being able to throw a spiky Goblin at your opponent. Let's see what that's going to be. Okay, so they're going to go for Bile Blight. Target creature... But either way, that 2 damage is still on the stack. So I guess at this point, we'll just go Rakdos Charm. Yeah, because that'll be 2 damage. And I'm pretty sure that it's not going to matter with that Bile Blight. We'll just go Rakdos Charm because that'll be 2 damage to our opponent. And that'll knock them down to 0. And then it'll be that last damage. It's going to put them down to negative. There we go, -1. We're going to be able to close it out. But yeah, you know, as far as that stream goes, I'm going to be doing a lot more arena stuff in addition to my commander stuff. And I'm going to be trying to release it in a little bit more of a timely fashion. So, you know, that way if you do see a deck on arena that you do like, I'll at least be kind of incorporating it into my daily rotation. And we get to see it as games get played and different decks enter the meta game. But if you enjoyed your time at the circus, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.